My name is iRaven. I'm the panel host here, along with all these lovely creatures up here. Before I go through all the slideshow, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. So, which way do you want to go? Let's go. Actually.
I think I'm probably the most weird Ponysuiting on this channel. My first time suiting was partial suiting, I think like when you say 24, and then I only got my full suit and used it at like Ciderfest 24. So it's only the second time I've ever had my full suit at a con. So I'm still pretty new to all this, but like, and I feel like Nolan with Junior actually spend an entire 3-day con in full suit, like every time around. So I feel like I do that. I'm also a Twitch streamer. I'm actually a pony VTuber. It's the exact same character. Oh, I'm passionate about ponies. Didn't even tell you guys my username.
I'm iRaven. I have been interested in ponysuiting since I first joined the fandom. I'm not really too known in the fandom, but this is probably what I'm looking for. Been in the fursuiting, gone in the furries, run pony fursuiting, etc. I have a final partial, which is right here. That's going to be converted to a full suit. I have one of the Twilights over there. The one that looks a little raggedy. That was the first Twilight from Sparkle suit ever made in 2012. And I have a Cadence suit that's like also 10 years old that I would have had to write in like 5 suitcases to bring them all the way over here. No, we'll take that for TSA. But yeah.
Hi, I'm Weege, and I pretty much started commenting for about maybe 2.5 years now. And you see that kind of first video of a full suit, nasty out that's right. Pretty much made the body suit myself. Took about 1 week and lots of rushing. I never recommend it. I'm still sewing in some scenes when the sun rose on Thursday, so my flight was. But yeah.
Chicken jockey. I'm Zizzy. Most of you know me as Princess Cadence. I am wearing the suit of Thesis. I have rebuilt everything on this suit at least once. I've been suiting since 2019.
Hi, my name is Stell and/or Computerstickman, and I have 2 suits. The first one is Supreme Justice, which is Miles Edgeworth as a pony, which is the first suit that I made a few years back. I was actually up here on the invited up a few years back when I first wore it here. And now I have Rainbow Crash, which is not a full suit, but almost there, which I made. I first wore it last Babs, but now it was just a partial, and now I've made more for it, and so now I'm here.
So I'm Tolu. Princess Luna. I got into fursuiting to age myself to a little bit. 2001, further confusion. I've been doing this kind of nonsense ever since. Multiple suits, partial suits, full suits, and have learned a few things of what to do and most specifically what not to do while you're wearing fursuits. Yeah, right? Turns out fur is really bad for pools. I think there's video of you for that one, jumping into the pool, and the hotel staff is unhappy because this gets caught in all of the filters. Oh no.
Yeah. That's it. We have a panel. shall continue. So, if you haven't noticed yet, yeah, it does. What is a pony suit? If you haven't guessed by now, it's basically a pony fursuit, equine, whatever, based on My Little Pony. Pony suits, just short term for pony fursuits. Most pony suits, if you see around like furcons and mostly pony cons, are in the style of G4, since that's when the concept of it took off with the rise of Friendship is Magic, pony fandom. However, there's also some older generation pony suits out there from like the 1980s and stuff like that, and many B5 characters, like your very own Hitch over there. They also don't really have to be ponies in the first place. As I said, they are based on My Little Pony, so we have like Gilda and Gallus and Discord and other species. They also don't have to cover your entire, also like fursuits, they don't have to cover your entire body. We have partials, which have a head, arm, leg, hooves, and tail. Do exists if full suiting isn't what you want to go for, or if you can't afford the full bodysuit, go along with the partial yet. That's me. I'm converting mine to full pretty soon, so yeah. So different types of them, as I just mentioned. We have a full suit, which is your entire body. Very big example of that is Starlight, who's around this convention. That's the head over there, Headless Horseman. We have a partial, which is what I have. We just have head, arm, leg, hooves, tail, not really full bodysuit. And then we have a head, which is self-explanatory. There is also one other kind of pony suit I would really like to mention, and that is this abomination. That is Spooky Jack from the very early days of the fandom, and that was a picture of them at MFF. I have a friend of mine who actually refurbished them, and they are in the Chicago area, and that was MFF 2023.
How did you come along in that?
I don't know. Don't. But yes, other than Spooky Jack, some other pony quad suits exist, but that's obviously the most popular example here.
The most terrifying.
And the most terrifying. Yes.
It looks very Gumby.
It does.
Oh yeah. Apparently it was made in like 2012 by some random mascot costume producer in Peru, and then a furry got it and brought it to like MFF or AC, and that's where that one video on YouTube exists. I'm just screaming around.
It became a meme almost.
Oh, absolutely. It's a GIF on like Discord. Yeah. So some stuff I'm going to go through for like suit stuff if you're curious. If you see your favorite character at a con, like if you want to interact with them, a lot of suitors will have many rules on actions they would like and dislike while suiting up. Many of these rules are based on how like consent. Some stuff is like non-negotiable, ultimately up to the suitor. Please respect them. Like some suitors will like hugs, other suitors will not like hugs, etc., etc. Some suitors also have badges to indicate whether you should do something or not. Like I've seen like at some cons you have like please hug me, or don't hug me, or don't touch this part of my suit because it's fragile, or etc., etc. Most common also like giving hugs, taking photos, touching to get attention, etc., etc. Non-negotiable rules also come into play, which most common stalking, taking the student head off without consent, touching without consent, sometimes basic interaction. Many of these rules are sort of just general cosplay, just also really based on consent here. You have to remember that suitors are people too. Moral common sense is very necessary. More often with ponies, with pony suits like canon characters like me and Twilight and Cadence, you'll come across suitors that don't really speak. To put it simply, this is a main canon character. If they are Princess Luna, they are Princess Luna. That is non-negotiable. if this is the case, or if you can come across, don't try to force them to talk. Don't be respectful. It's moral common sense. Yeah. After all, suitors representing characters suiting us, as I just said, you don't want to break the magic. It's Twilight or Rainbow Crash or Luna here, and they're glad to be from all of us. So yeah, any questions here?
My question is based off of that. Like, if you are trying to do this person or trying to be in character, and someone approaches you and tries to push you into speaking, like, how do you politely and in character say, no?
I guess if I were in that situation, I'd just be like, hey, I gotta go somewhere. Like, I need to run off to some thing.
I think you should also mention that hearing and vision are impaired.
Yes.
So if someone doesn't respond to you right away, don't take it personally. And also, I mean, I know personally, my biggest problem is interacting with children because they're totally my
They're way down there. Yeah.
So, common courtesy, don't touch us without asking. Like, would you go up to a random person and touch them? Probably not. But if you like walk right up to me and boot my nose without asking, like that's weird. Like, treat my suit as if it's my actual physical body. Unfortunately, multiple times this con, so I have had people touch me without asking, and it was too fast for me to really stop them. It wasn't anything really big, it was like a nose boot. But still, it's weird. You're touching me without permission, and if you had asked, I would have said no. And I want this suit to last for a very long time, so people are constantly booping out the nose is going to wear out. So yeah, so just in general, just because we're in costume, treat the costume as if it's part of our physical body, and just don't touch us like you wouldn't touch a normal person because my stuff. So just one.
Yeah, that happened to me as well. Somebody went and booped my nose, but I couldn't even see him. I didn't see because of my vision so bad. I didn't see who it was. I didn't see where they are. And it's like I'm like more of that, I suppose. But again, it's like, consent.
Yeah, very big.
Yeah, one of the things that people won't notice, like you were saying, the vision that's on there. So for instance, Luna here. My vision when I'm looking out is over there and over there. If you are anywhere down here, you are just in the absolute void, which does make it difficult working with children, smaller people that's on there, going up and down the stairs, winds up being a hazard. So it's a lot of just kind of recognizing that. It's, moving through, hey, can I, get a hug or take a picture? Try and get to where you think the person would be able to actually see you. Somewhere over here, maybe, not right down here, definitely not over here.
Yeah, all depends on like vision wise and hearing wise. Definitely.
With our technology and cameras, do they have camera technology for the best?
Maybe?
Some
I've heard of some.
The biggest problem you run into is how do you power them and how do you keep them cool? A lot of particularly analog cameras that you would have in there that you would have for a real-time feed, so you're not dealing with some kind of lag, is going to generate a lot of heat. So you're going to have a camera that's going to need some kind of cooling system or something on there, or fans, heat sink that's on there. That starts adding a lot of bulk. How do you power something like that? You don't want to take lithium batteries and pack them up into something that's then stuck on your head. That's usually not a good idea. And then how do you view it? If you have a screen that's in there and you've got even more something that's pulling more power. There are some that are built around that. There was one that it was the Tech line built. And the entire thing was built to be a very realistic looking lion head with the placement of the eyes and everything that was on there. There was no way you'd be able to physically see out of it. So his vision was actually through an early sort of like goggle style system that was on there. And that was one of the problems that he was constantly having with it, was either the system was overheating or he had to plug into a battery pack that was on his hip. So he had to be able to run cabling down and plug in kind of deal. So there's possibilities for it. Technology has definitely gotten better over the years.
There's also not a ton of room inside these heads to put all that stuff too. Like I said, you have to kind of build around it.
And along with it, the more stuff you put in the head, the heavier it is. The heavier the head is, the more strain on the neck and the asshole.
And the table here is all hard shell probably weighs about 3 pounds or so, which doesn't seem like a whole lot until all of that is supported here for an entire day.
I mean, go talk to an antler fursuiter, and you'll hear about neck pain.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to, there's a kind of a tendency of people wanting to treat the fursuiters as like, oh, you're a plushie, like, oh, I'm gonna go up and pick you up, like, it's the same thing that you just said, like, you don't go up to a random person and go touch them, especially not picking somebody up, because you could actually injure somebody's back, like, and it actually is considered assault, like, if you touch somebody and it's like, we as a community need to call this out, like, do not allow somebody to do that, like, because you could actually seriously injure somebody by picking them up, being ready for it.
I switched the slide here, but this is basically what we were talking about, how it's depending on the style of the suit. Can't really see, can't really hear well, can only see eyes out of the head, blind spot in the middle.
Blind spot down below.
Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. If you want to like interact with them, just get their attention by speaking up, call their character's name, tapping them on the shoulder, unless their touch rule doesn't allow that, because some suitors are different. Handlers can also come into play if the suitor has a handler nearby, and if they really can't see or hear well, you can have the handler just get their attention and do all that without really breaching that much consent. There's people, so handlers basically are just people who keep suitors safe, people who are probably friends with the suitor, like assist certain tasks like seeing, hearing, taking breaks, giving water, preventing stalkers, aiding him out. Much more, but not most importantly, keeping the suitor safe. Keep in mind, though, that not all suits have handlers by their side at the time or at all. They can be solo, etc., etc. So,
Can I say something?
yeah.
Never be afraid to ask, because like me personally, I love giving hugs, I love taking pictures, and a lot of suitors also like doing that. So never be afraid to ask, and the worst you can get is just like, no thank you.
Is there any resources online that if you have a handler or something and you're sick, there's like a forum or something, saying, I'm going to be at this con at this time, can you meet me up and handle me or something? Or is that like a trust issue that you don't want like strangers coming in?
It's definitely a trust thing, because they're going to be, especially with like canon characters, you have to have somebody you trust. You don't want like a random person, hey, this is my identity, especially if they're consuming your identity. You're like, okay, you are completely role-playing as Vital Scratch or something like that. You don't want people seeing your identity. You have to have somebody you trust.
It's the same for me. I fursuit specifically so I can attend conventions without exposing my human form, because I like that type of privacy. So I would have to have someone who like I can truly trust, because they would have to see what I look like. I can't like take a random person in a situation like mine.
I was more looking for like an accredited, like, I kind of been there, she called me last minute, I can resource someone and that I can trust or whatever, like, is there like
I don't think there's like an organized organization, so it's more on a personal level. It's usually friends or people that you trust that you know.
Well, yeah, I think we're a pretty good community. Like, that you talk to a lot of the other suitors who are willing to get to know you.
And I think, at least for me, it depends upon the situation, because I've been in the suit for like 9 years now, and I'm pretty comfortable in it, and I can go out. But if I'm going to a new place, or out in public, or in a crowded place out in public, obviously you want to have somebody watching out. And so like, we'll often go suiting out in public. And if it's going to be a busy day, we'll usually have somebody shout at us and watch us. And that also helps with photos and whatnot. And then I think it also depends on the suit, because I know, for example, that Luna suit is exceedingly, that's not a suit you can really get into or out of on your own. So a handler also works to do this, can help with the suit up and the D-suit later. So, I don't think, yeah, there is no like official organization per se. Mainly you just find people you trust and know and friends. So.
Any further questions here? No, sir.
Yeah, as someone who is getting is currently getting a suit commission, one thing that I've never really thought about or have heard anything about is actually like, well, being creepy or being stalky, which I'm sure it happens obviously, but it's just something that I can't really fathom as someone who hasn't been in suit for longer than 10 minutes up until now. Could you elaborate a bit on that, on what experiences or how you experience that?
Shall my voice is starting to go. This is something that I can actually speak experience on this one is some of the other suits that I have wind up having sort of a following of people that just really love it, absolutely want everything to do with it, and you get the few people that go a little too far with it. Trying to seek you out every chance they have. You'll do a panel, and the ones that will spot you in the room and come walking up down next to you, sitting next to the student. A handler is a great thing to have in a situation like that. Somebody that can see that. But honestly, if you're at a convention, anything like this, one of the best things that you can do is go find a staff member, go find somebody maybe that's part of the staff, security player, for instance. Let them know that, hey, I'm having this situation, what's going on here. They have diplomatic ways of handling situations like that to get something out of there. Out in a public setting, if you're doing public suiting, going out to a boardwalk or something like that, you are going to be relying heavily on having either a handler or other fellow suitors that are along with you that can help to kind of run interference in that situation and generally just remove yourself from the situation. If it comes down to it, your personal safety is the most important thing. Don't be afraid to unmask yourself, pull your gun off, look at it and say, hey, look, this is not something you can be doing. We need to stop and separate from this. And it's a difficult thing to do. You may encounter it sometime, or hopefully you never do.
So, say you want a pony suit of your own. That's really cool to hear. Bonus. You can either commission a pony suit from a pony suit fursuit maker. There's many fursuit makers out there in the pony fandom and the furry fandom that take suit commissions from time to time. And would really like to make characters. Some are in here right now. And you can also potentially make your own if you have decent enough sewing skills and really want to try making your own. Go for it. There's a really big amount of resources and head, hoof, bodysuit, tail bases, and communities that would love to help you, including our own Discord server, which are yes, a bunch of videos.
YouTube is such a great resource.
YouTube University.
As a person who made my own ponysuit, I would like to say that there's not, unless it's been updated, but I know there's not as many tutorials and resources on making pony suits in particular. There's a lot of stuff on making regular fursuits, and that's how I made a lot of this. But the hooves I engineered myself because there's not I took inspiration from Avalon and then the Cadence fursuit and stuff like that because they have some stuff posted online, but there's not as much, and I'm trying a bit to help make some patterns and stuff like that eventually.
There are some makers who make head bases.
Yes, this is actually based off of there's people that make head bases, and this is actually a pattern that I got from Etsy. as well. But there's just not as many as just like regular fursuits. Yes?
How long does it take to make a fursuit, and how much does it cost on average?
We're getting to that.
How much you want to spend?
Yeah.
How much you want to spend?
It's understanding, first and foremost, I mean, it really is a hobby, and like any kind of hobby, how much money do you want to throw at it? That's pretty much how much it's going to cost.
Oh, I just have a friend who he bought his fursuit, and now it cost like at least $1,000 or something.
All of them do.
Yeah. And compared to all the fursuits on the furry fandom, Ponysuits are very distinct. I can see them from miles away, and people at FurCon really would like to see ponies due to like brony fandom, furry fandom pipelines. May bring really big nostalgia about seeing like Twilight or Derpy or Fluttershy or Vinyl or some Pony OC that stands out in a crowd of like other animals. So yeah. And just real quick, if you are interested in our Discord server, we have a QR code here that you can scan. This will be also displayed at the end of the panel, so if you can't get your phone out right now, you can do it later. But yeah.
If you don't have a signal now, you can just take a picture and then
Yeah, you can
access
just take
it
a
when you
picture.
do have a signal.
You won't be able to see everything immediately. I'm gonna have to auto add you here, but just wait till after the panel and I'll get you. But yeah. All right. Moving on, if you would like to commission a pony suit, it's just like commissioning an artist or a vendor about just art. You get with them whenever quotes or commissions are open. And the most common pony suit makers out there are Adelon the Deer and SO. We have an example of an Adelon suit over there, Starlight, and we have an example of a SO suit right there, which is Hitch. So, but that's not the only ones, obviously. Many fursuit makers in the furry fandom. Yeah. Many fursuit makers in the furry fandom would really like to make ponies. So, you must give adequate like head and waist measurements because it's a physical item. It's going to have to fit you well. You don't want something that looks terrible on you. Full suits, almost all makers prefer a duct tape dummy, which I'll go over this pretty soon, as it's a representation of your body. If it's not possible, just try to measure different parts of your body. You send to the suit maker, like just measurements in inches, whatever like that. The suit maker will probably maybe guide you through this if you haven't finished the fursuit before. But there are, again, a ton of tutorials and videos and resources on doing this. This has been the thing for like 20 years or more. So, yeah.
I think one of the other things you might mention is the used market is also.
Yes. Used, yes.
You have to be careful and pay attention.
Yes, used suits are also very much a thing. Remades too, yes. Find those mostly on like Dealer's Den or eBay or whatever.
A lot of folks with Instagram and stuff too.
Yeah, just different. If you're on the other hand, if you're thinking, how would I make a pony suit? It's similar to how you build a fursuit. Basically the same thing. Got that door? Okay, cool. It's searching online. There's like just a lot of head bases made from foam solar materials, bodysuit patterns, whiptail patterns. I went through all this for partials. It requires a lot of suiting experience, hand sewn and machine. Some parts of fursuits are much harder to be machine sewn than hand sewn, so keep that in mind. Like mostly heads or different accessories. They can also, ponysuits can also follow different styles common in the furry fandom, such as, I can't ever say that word.
Digitigrade.
Thank you. Wide hips, which is like wide hips, Japanese style. Plantigrade, which is more human-like. Kimono, which is Japanese style. Digitigrade, and more. Many patterns exist to create these styles according to your liking. Like if you like this, this suit is really well shaped. Okay, get a suit like that. There's a million makers out there. There's some images and whip pics right here for like heads. The most of these were from my vinyl head and another person's cloud chaser head. So you can see there's a foam base over here with some eye blanks on like a headstand, and then there's also a 3D printed head base with some eyes and foam ears. Not mentioned here is different kinds of head bases, like especially analog suits like the Luna and Starlight that have a vacuum formed plastic base. There is not really a limit here. Just if you're going with a different style and you still want to have like decent ventilation and like eyesight and audio. And then we have some full suits here. There are a few examples of a duct tape dummy and one that was taped over by some masking tape to get the pony shape right. It's used as a base to build your bodysuit on if you're commissioning a full suit. And that's basically all I'm going to say about that. You don't really, you use it with like old clothes to like get some like clothes you haven't worn in like 10 years and just duct tape yourself and ship it off to the maker.
Best to get some helpers.
Yes, very best to get some helpers. You cannot do this yourself.
There are tutorials to do the duct tape dummy.
Yeah,
yes.
and the other thing is, if you don't want to use clothes, you can go get one of those painting suits. Like
tie-back suits.
Tie-back suit. Put it on and just tape it really tight.
Pretty much. So suit maintenance as a fursuit is made of all kinds of different fabrics, exposed to all kinds of outside elements, different environments. They do get dirty. You will be sweating a lot. Ventilation is not good after long suiting times. If you've commissioned with your fursuit maker on your own, they will happy to provide you with tips on how to clean it. So you can't really just stick your fursuit in the washing machine and expect it to be done. No, don't do that.
Dryer is bad.
Dryer, not your friend. Close it.
Heat is bad.
Yeah.
Front loader.
Different fabrics, different stains require different procedures. As they just said, dryer's not your friend. You'll have to get like possibly different bleach, different cleaning supplies. It really depends on the fabric and whatever's on your suit. Yes.
Taking care of a plush is kind of the same thing as taking care of the suit, or is it not because you got glue pieces or anything like that?
Very similar.
Quite similar, yeah. On a much smaller scale, but quite similar.
There'll be some uniqueness that's in there depending on the particular suit design, but a lot of it is very similar materials.
Yeah. And there's again many resources online for fursuit makers and fabric cleaners alike to help out, especially if you get a suit that you don't know the maker of, it's used, et cetera, et cetera. So, the next one is a big one, and it's suit safety, keeping yourself safe. And suits are, if anything, a big blanket that's wrapped around you, especially for a long period of time if you're cosplaying one character. It will get very hot, and taking frequent water breaks, ensuring proper ventilation depending on your suit style is absolutely necessary. In other words, don't die.
A lot of people use portable fans.
Yeah, portable fans are amazing. Yes. Suit fans, as the next bullet point says, can be added into heads if they have enough space. If you have a mouth that opens, you can use a portable fan that blows upwards to push in flow of air. There's a few makers online that sound like. There's like popsicle fans and ice cream sandwich fans to make it look less like make it look better. And it's okay if you need to take a break. You have full permission to do so if you're feeling odd, such as like a headache. Yeah, perfect. That's one of those things you just.
This is from fursuitsupplies.com. It's chargeable, so I'm charging it right now for battery. Battery lasts quite a while. Has like 3 different speeds. I love this thing. I highly recommend this one. If you're not looking for like an aesthetic one, like the popsicle fans, definitely find it really, really useful.
It's full permission to do so if you need to take a break. You don't want to suit the point of heat stroke, especially if there's no proper ventilation,
I think another thing on fursuit safety is be aware of the traction of your feet.
Yes.
Particularly on wet surfaces, particularly on slick surfaces. I mean, some suits will have outdoor feet that are designed to have good grip, but I have gone down on wet concrete before.
All right, Luna, show them your hooves.
Yeah, let's see the hooves. Yeah, there you go.
Metal horseshoes, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
These sound fantastic. I have to watch everything I step on because they have 0 traction.
They're also
Is that also tough? I mean, because I would not want you walking around on my hardwood floors.
I would definitely watch out for manufactured flooring probably, but I mean
I've got a natural fine hardwood floor.
The entire state shakes as you walk.
But yeah, like footing, and then also if your suit has extra long tail or tall antlers or a unicorn horn,
or big wings. Unusual anatomy.
Yeah, just need to be aware.
Spatial awareness is a good one.
You're a caribou and you walk into one ceiling fan, you figure it out. Long mules.
Any further questions?
For hydration, can I have my lovely handler bring up my giraffe bottle? This is one of my favorite things. So usually these are for people in wheelchairs, but so the mouth of my suit is actually open, so I can actually fit this in and take a drink while in suit.
As seen on TV.
I should have gone through the nose like a real dentist.
I can do that with mine. My nose holes are open enough since I don't have. I don't have a mouth that opens since this is magnetic. I have my ventilation through the nostrils, so I can just stick it in there.
I can do that too. Real equine vet procedure.
But yeah, if you have an open mouth, you could actually fit that. So I would highly recommend them. Yeah, you can only drink through them when you bite down, so it's not going to leak until you start drinking. So definitely a tool I found very, very useful where I can hydrate and not have to take my head off.
Especially for the state characters, it really relates to the canon character, incognito-esque vibe, or Ashy, family character protecting the identity. So, big question: Why do you do this? Really good feeling in your mind whether to come up to your character, especially if your suit's really cute, and if it's your favorite character, like, oh my god, Rainbow Dash. And if you want to take pictures, you give hugs, you will get a ton of attention. And if you're the only suitor in an area by other attendees at other cons, events, but also other fursuiters, people will see you as the pony you want to suit as. Act no silly, be in character, be whoever you want. If it's an original character, you are that character. They don't know who the hell you are. So, yeah.
I usually just act like my normal self for most of the time, but very fun to wear pony suits at furry conventions. People love them.
Yes. And any further questions?
And don't be afraid to go out and reasonable, in public spaces too. We go to Santa Cruz often.
Yeah, there's a bunch of public meets, like maybe more
Not just
further on
on the
the,
events.
that you just kind of go out in public and walk around, and a lot of the common public is somewhat confused, but also it's like, wow, that's really cool. Sometimes you'll get some hecklers, but just being in a group and staying aware of that. I'm forgetting words, but just be aware
Well,
of that.
and out in public, that's usually a good time to use a hand player.
Yes,
Somebody
definitely.
who's gonna act as that buffer with the public if things go a little weird.
Yes, definitely.
So,
Honestly, one of my favorite things about doing this is when someone spots you for the first time and you can see this look of awe come over their face, whether that they're just not familiar with pony suits or they're a normie. Like my favorite thing is when normies who have nothing to do with the convention and that come up for me with a picture and they're smiling so wide. Like literally just watching people's faces light up in delight, that makes all like the discomfort worth it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, kids are the best.
Yeah.
Oh, kids are
And
absolutely the
that's
best.
part of the reason why there's probably a lot of canon suits as well, because they're recognizable. For me personally, there's a lot of Rainbow Dashes out there, so I wanted to make a little bit different to stand out. So it's a dark Rainbow Dash, but still people are like, oh my god, it's Rainbow Dash! And so, I love seeing that and, taking photos and doing all that kind of stuff with people.
So, any further questions here?
I just want to comment, I think you could kind of pass off as the evil Rainbow Dash in that monkey episode.
Yes,
That's exactly what it is.
That is what it's based off of. Pie-hating Rainbow Dash is
He hates
its
pie.
name, I guess. I don't know.
Pie-hating Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, that's literally like in the game loft game. That's the name of it. But yeah, no, I think that design is just really cool. And so, again, I want to make a little bit different Rainbow Dash. So it's like, yeah, I'll use that design. That design is really cool. Originally, I just picked out colors of fabric that I ordered from samples, and then I realized I can use that design to make this. But yeah.
So, real quick, this is not on the slides, but if anybody on stage or in the audience has some fun experiences they want to share while they've suited, go right ahead.
I think we have one more question back here still.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
My question is, do any of you experience what's called a headspace while you're suiting? So beyond consciously, deliberately
Always.
Performing, it just sort of becomes automatic, and you feel this character that you're being rather than portraying to.
Yep. Absolutely.
A lot of people.
Yes, especially.
Well, and I don't know about the pony suiters, but being a fursuit, this is my original character. This is me, and so I really feel this. It's me.
Well, I got two questions. First of all, I see different solutions to this problem. Front moves, functional hands. I just want to know, what's the most efficient way to... Okay.
It's the pinky fingers.
Yeah, these are called cheaters in fursuits. It's actually okay, so these are called cheaters. They make it extremely useful. So you'll often see me if I'm just waiting. I be typing away on my phone, but you can't see the fingers. So it's very funny. Guns are very funny.
Fursuiters will be
Honestly,
will never not.
whenever it comes to hands, there's lots of different solutions. So she's got cheaters. I've got the caribou style free toe, and then he's got actual fingers. So different makers have different styles of being able to do it. And then there's somebody like poor Luna there with absolutely oh that's right, you modified that suit because the original suit had no holes, and so once you were in it, that was it. And that's why that suit inspired it.
This is lovingly referred to as a German torture suit.
Yeah.
The scissors in the back. Also, the wings are on the back. I cannot get into this on my own. I also cannot get out of it on my own.
But
This is for safety.
Yeah, but before they modified for the hand, that suit did not have hand holes. So once you had to have somebody get you in it, and you had to have somebody get you out of it, and that's why that suit required a handler that you could absolutely trust. You couldn't be at like a room party and your handler goes off which jock and disappears, because then you're in it. That's it.
You're stuck.
Even with just pony suits, there's different kinds of hand slits, because I know yours has the ones that are like that.
It's on the side here.
Yeah, they're on the side.
You've got a flap that's on the
Yeah,
end.
I personally designed these myself, which is they close with magnets. So you don't-
Smart.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cadence, when Cadence was under, her suit's very different, similar, but it's a little bit farther up, signaling kind of magnet, so it's pop open, you can slide the hand out, and then just kind of pull back in, and it closes with the magnets.
That's cool.
I've also got handles in here. That's how I hold my hooves. Since I have like little handles in here that I hold.
I like the magnet. That's cool.
Who went first?
He went first.
Okay.
Do you have any recommendations if you're a person who won't likely be able to get a handler? So like a solo fursuit.
That was my question.
For me, I do a lot of solo suiting. I've made this suit so I can be self-sufficient. Like these, especially just having hand access. And I try and give myself a lot of vision and at least like, just like being aware. I've personally just been able to do a lot of suiting myself is just having a suit that you can. The biggest thing is just being able to get in and out of it if you need to.
Yeah, one of the other suits that I have is designed around basically that sort of principle that's on there. I have full stereo vision in front of me. I have hands, I can easily pull the gloves off if I need to do anything with it. So that suit, I would feel very comfortable going out and doing, farmer's market gig or something like that with it. This suit, absolutely not. The only time it gets to come out is when I'm at, a convention and have a dedicated handler.
I would also say experience is a factor. Like, I think if you're a brand new suitor, you really shouldn't be suiting without a handler, like your first few times. Like, if you think, oh, I can't find a handler, nah. If it's your first few times suiting, like, find one. Like drag a normie friend to the con if you have to, but you really should have a handler your first few times.
Definitely.
Once you feel like you know what you're doing, then you can start thinking about soloing. But like, don't get yourself into trouble like solo suiting your first time and like collapsing on the floor. And, not fun. Nobody wants to have the ambulance. No one wants me to be the first who collapses on the floor, and then the ambulance comes and they have to cut your fursuit off you, and then that's just forever by that consistency when the fursuit got driven away in the ambulance. Don't let that be you.
Definitely the biggest thing, stairs. While I was making my feet hooves, I practiced going up and down the stairs and making sure. You gotta have the vision and you gotta have the coordination to be able to go down the stairs, especially if you have like feet hooves or feet paws or whatever. Use handrails when you're going down the stairs and stuff like that.
Another alternative, I guess, for solo suiting or not having a dedicated handler, is definitely maybe suiting alongside other fellow suitors. That way,
Yeah, go to there's a lot of events out there.
A lot of meetups, a lot of events.
Herd mentality, safety in numbers.
Well, and like, still, we've gone to the, and so that'll have like an entire group, but there'll usually be at least one or two handlers who drag along, so, and watch everything.
Yeah. Yeah, not everyone needs dedicated handlers. You just need somebody that's aware and has hands.
Yeah, and it's kind of watching the crowd and just making sure things don't go south.
One more thing, at least with Ponysuiting specifically, I go to a lot of these, make a lot of friends, and once you know enough people, you can sort of just solo suit, and like everyone that you kind of know and are like kind of friends with are like they're like little temporary handlers in a sense. Something happens, then your friend who's just
I watch out for
in the
everybody.
second room and see something comes over. So like
Princess
Cadence, community guest, you might on occasion just see the Cadence I just completely unattended just in the middle of the room somewhere with Cadence nowhere to be seen, and no one's gonna take the head because like everybody knows Cadence. Someone takes that using Cadence, everyone's gonna come up and go, what's going on. yeah, that kind of thing.
The great thing is if you ever go to any furry conventions too, I know this convention has like a space but not really like a headless lounge. They have headless lounges which are particularly for if you need to take a break after convention and you can't go to your room. They have fans, they have water, and all that kind of stuff to help you.
I know some European Comic-Cons have like headless lounges. I went in like GalaCon in Germany, they have one. It's also when they headless lounge, it's more kind of like a con. It is a headless lounge, but it's like a headless lounge plus costume area. It's like a behind the scenes area, but it's private, so like you can only get in if you're like behind the scenes. It was very nice when I went. They even had like a makeshift head dryer, so the headless lounges are not very common at Comic-Cons in America, but if you end up in New York, there's a greater chance of finding some.
The biggest thing with headless lounges is privacy. This one here is like a cosplay thing, but there's not like privacy because again, it's also about keeping the magic too. You know, you don't want to take off your head where everybody can see you.
Unless your Canadian suit just runs around and figure it out.
So, if that's it, I would like to really thank you all for attending. Here's another QR code link for the Discord server if you would like to join for people who did not get it earlier. I'll keep this on the screen and I'll get you in very, very soon. It's been a Q&A the entire panel. If you have any further questions, yeah.
At the end, can we get all the fursuiters for our picture op?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, that's all from me.